Welcome back with a smiling face. Important note before starting, if you are a fan of audio stories, then our Patreon account is the best platform for you. Join us on Patreon for the best audiobooks ever. Redeeming Himself. Episode 10. Chapter 67 to 71. Liam. I was sitting in my office when Jacob knocked on the door announcing his entrance. "What's up?" I asked him. He had been a little distant since he met Azalea. "The messenger you sent to White Moon is back with their reply and a guest," he said. My eyes shot up in surprise. "Okay, send the messenger in first," I said. "I already linked Beta Damien," he said before exiting. A few minutes later, the messenger was walking into my office followed by Damien. He stood in front of my desk ready to report. "What is the current state of White Moon?" I asked. "Not good, Alpha. It seems that many of their buildings and homes were torched when they were attacked. Their current state is also attracting rogues to the area, complicating things further." "And their leadership?" Damien asked. "Their Alpha and Beta were killed when they were attacked. The Gamma was hurt. Right now, the Gamma, Delta and Madame Earlies are trying to run the pack as they look for a replacement for Alpha. Do you know anything about their decision concerning our offer?" I asked. "It seems they may be open to it. It is my understanding that they have sent the Delta back with me to negotiate terms of a merger. But they did not allow me much information as they talked over their decision," he finished. I nodded to him. "Great, we want a full report by the end of day tomorrow." "You are released until then," Damien said. He turned to me. "I guess let's see what they have to say," he said. I nodded. He left the room, coming back with the White Moon Delta. I stood to greet him. "Welcome. I am Liam Blackfur, Alpha of Blood Eclipse," I said. He nodded to me. "I am Gerald Smith, Delta of White Moon. Thank you for meeting with me," he said. He was a tall and lean guy that looked to be in his late 20s. He had brown hair and a pale complexion. "No problem. I assume this is about my Luna's offer to your pack." "Yes. Where is your Luna?" I looked to Damien, who gave me a curious look back. "She is otherwise occupied." "Why do you ask?" The Delta shifted uncomfortably. "No reason," he said. "The other members of our leadership have discussed your offer at length. And the decision. If Blood Eclipse can provide adequate living arrangements and jobs for the White Moon members, we will merge with your pack," he said. I could sense he was nervous. I looked at Damien and he nodded. "Something is off here," I linked him. Turning to Gerald, I said, "That should be no problem. How about we continue this discussion over dinner later? I imagine you are tired from traveling and we can arrange a room for you to clean up and rest." His eyes got wide, but he continued his facade. "That is nice of you, Alpha. I appreciate your hospitality," he said. "Damien, would you get the Delta or Gamma to help our friend here?" I said, standing up. I needed to check on Azalea now. Something told me that this was all fake. Azalea and Lily are working on wedding plans together, correct? Yes. They should be up in my office. Lily has turned it into wedding headquarters since we have not given them an office. Felix was with them. Good. Get him to a room and have someone keep an eye on his movements. We also need to check for any signs of trespassing even before his arrival. I'm on it. You should get with Felix and go check on the girls. If someone is after Azalea, they may try to harm Lily because they are together." Damien led Gerald out of my office and I immediately followed. Austin was already in the hall getting directions from Damien. I walked right past them, moving quickly but keeping my body language relaxed. Before I even turned the corner, Jacob was crashing into me. "Alpha," he yelled. "What is it?" I asked. "Lily and Azalea have been taken." "What do you mean taken?" I roared. I could hear the growl emanating from Damien behind me and I turned to see him slamming the white moon delta against the wall. I was instantly by his side, my claws growing from my fingertips. Austin stood on his other side, equally enraged. "Where are they?" Damien growled. Gerald clawed at Damien's fist around his neck, gasping for air. Damien let go, letting him slide down the wall. "I'm sorry," he panted. "I was against this. You have 10 seconds to explain and tell us where our mates are." I screamed. I felt a presence behind me. I looked over my shoulder at an angry Felix holding a small plunger. "They hit me with wolfsbane, Alpha. I am sorry. It was like a ghost. There was no one. It wasn't strong enough to put me out completely, but they got our Luna and Lily," he said in a flat tone. His eyes stared murderously at the wolf in front of us. I nodded my head at him. "How can someone be invisible to our security?" "Speak," I said. Gavin was shaking in rage inside of me, begging to come out and kill the wolf. It is his gift. He can camouflage himself, making him practically invisible. Madame Irlies wants your Luna and sent him to get her. I was to distract you with a fake acceptance of your offer," he said quickly. I swear I was against it. I told them we should accept and merge with you. I told them we should accept your Luna's kindness. They have my mate and pup. Where did he take them? Damien growled. There is a group waiting outside your border to help take them back to White Moon. If you hurry, you can catch them. He won't be able to move quickly carrying 2 she-wolves, he said. Damien and Austin immediately took off for the front door. I turned to Felix. Lock him up. We will deal with him later, I said. Then come meet us and the patrols to find the girls. I looked back at the pathetic wolf on the ground. If anyone has laid a hair on my mate's head, I will burn the rest of your pack to the ground, I threatened him. We have picked up their scent towards the northwest, came Damien's voice. On my way, I said without sparing a glance at Felix or Gerald. I ran as fast as I could out of the pack house and towards the border. I shifted midair, not even bothering to remove my clothes. No one was going to take Azalea away from me again. Azalea. Lily and I were playing with table arrangements in Damien's office. Apparently, she had been bugging Damien about giving us an office to share. He had not yet, so she had taken over his office with all her wedding stuff. Mrs. Hale was supposed to be coming by later to help us make all the centerpieces, but Lily was still undecided on what she wanted. What if we do a single flower vase and then these candles around it, she said, moving things around again. Damien's small work table was covered in a tablecloth and we had various options all around us for her table designs. You have 3 colors of flowers. Will we use one or alternate between all of them? And you just said that you like these plates with those candles, I said, pointing at things on the table. Argh, she said, frustrated. She walked over to a chair and plopped herself down. Who knew getting married was so much work? I giggled at her. I think you are just being a little too anal about all this, I said, waving my hand at the table and sitting down in the chair next to her. You aren't getting married, you don't understand. It will be worse for you as the alpha's mate. But there is still pressure as the betas. We have to have most of the pack there and everyone will judge how this all goes. I smiled at her. I think that none of this matters as long as you and Damien are happy, I told her. She smiled at me. Why are you so wise, almost Luna? We both laughed at that. I need snacks. My brain cannot work like this. Think your hired goon will run down to the kitchen for us, she said with a devious smile. Probably not, but you can try. He has not left me alone unless I was with Liam since he got the job. Even so, the other day I walked out of Liam's office straight into Felix's back. I thought he had left after I went into Liam's office and told him I would be there for a while. I laughed. She walked over to the door to talk to Felix, who was earlier threatened by one serious bridezilla to wait patiently outside the office. I walked over to our practice table and started playing with the various dinnerware and napkin options we had. I looked up after a minute, realizing Lily had not come back. I walked over to the door that stood ajar. I opened it to see Felix laying on the ground unconscious, but before I knew what was happening, I felt a prick in my neck, and everything started to fade away. Azalea, I heard my name being called. It felt like someone was nudging me. Azalea, wake up, we don't have a lot of time, someone said. I tried to move my body only to realize my hands were bound behind me as well as my feet. I was laying on my side and my head hurt really bad. I realized it was Lily's voice calling me. I tried to open my eyes, but the room seemed to be spinning. Azalea, they are gone. We have to move, now, she was trying to cajole me. I groaned, trying to catch my bearings and figure out what happened. What happened? I whispered. We were drugged and taken. I do not think we are far from the pack though. I can feel Damien even with the effects of the wolfsbane, she said quickly. Can you help me sit up? I said. She scooted closer to me and she managed to help push me up enough so I could sit. I opened my eyes, trying to stop the spinning. Where do you think we are? I asked, looking around. We were in a room that was dirty and pretty bare. I don't know. My guess? Between Blood Eclipse and wherever these people are taking us, she said. I think I can let my claws out. Try to cut your ropes on them so you can untie me. We both scooted ourselves so that we were back to back. She was able to bring her claws out just enough that after about a minute of sawing, she cut my hands free. They aren't very smart if they left you here almost recovered, I said, rubbing my wrists. I went to work untying her hands so we could both get our feet undone. I pretended to be out when they were still here. I think they thought the dose they gave us was stronger. I can't link Damien or anyone from the pack yet, but I can feel my senses coming back, she said. Do you have any idea who this could be? I thought for a few moments. Liam had not mentioned any threats to the pack recently. I shook my head. No, Liam hasn't mentioned anything. I just assumed Felix was because of everything that happened with Cole, I told her. She stood up. She started looking around the room we were in. Her legs were shaky as she walked around, keeping a hand on the wall. I think this is some abandoned house, she said. What do we do? Do we wait for them? What if someone is outside that door? I said. I was really scared now that reality was sinking in. I closed my eyes, focusing on Liam for a minute. Liam, where are you? I tried. We're okay. Please hurry, nothing. If Lily could not link Damien or anyone else, I doubted I could link Liam. Lily collapsed on the other side of the room. I clambered over to her. Are you okay? I asked, worried. I don't know, she said, wincing. She held her side. I lifted her shirt to see a giant bruise on her side. It was pretty dark and covered at least 3/4 of her rib cage. Oh, Lily, I said. I was not sure what to do. Lily was not going to be able to run from here and there was no way I could fight off anyone without her. Even if her healing were not affected by wolfsbane, this would take a couple hours at minimum to heal enough for her to be able to fight. We have to find a way out of here. We can't let them come back and find that we got out of the ropes, she said with a serious look. I took a deep breath. What if I could heal her like I did Liam? But I was not even sure how I did it. I bit my lip looking around the room. There were 2 windows, but they were completely boarded up, there wasn't even light coming through the boards. There was a singular light hanging from the ceiling above us and a singular door across the room. It seemed like a bedroom in cabin almost. Lily, do you remember Liam and Cole's fight? I said. Yeah, but what does that have to do with this? He was stabbed with a knife covered in wolfsbane. I felt it too. I do not think it was just our bond. And it healed. We are not sure, but I think I might have healed Liam that day, I said looking at her. I might be able to heal you so we can get out of here. Her eyes grew wide. Azalea, how? I don't exactly know how, but I think I need to try, I said. She nodded her head. I grabbed her hand in mine. Just hold still, okay? I am not really sure how this works, I told her. She gripped my hand and held still. I closed my eyes and focused on her. I focused my mind on her injury and wanting it to heal. I felt warmth come over me like a wave. For a few minutes, this warm feeling lingered over me. As it receded, I opened my eyes and looked at Lily. Her eyes were wide. We both looked down at her ribcage and the bruise was almost completely gone. You did it! Oh my goddess, Azalea! How is this even possible? She exclaimed. My head felt light and the room was spinning again. I gave her a small smile. Azalea, are you okay? She said, realizing that I wasn't steady. Yeah, I will be. Just give me a sec, I said, holding my head. Let me see if I can link the guys, okay? I think you healed more than just the bruise. I can feel my wolf again, she said. Her voice sounded far away, and my head felt cloudy. Azalea, just stay with me, okay? I know they are coming. I felt Lily's arms come around me as I slumped over, losing control of my own body. Azalea, they are close. Don't go to sleep, stay with me. Liam is coming. They want us to stay put, I could hear her talking to me. Azalea, tell me you're still with me. I moaned softly. I felt really weak, but hope bloomed in my chest hearing that Liam was coming. Liam. We were running as fast as we could, following the trace scent we could pick up. For some reason, Lily's scent was slightly different than usual and stronger than Azalea's scent. I felt weird all of a sudden and I knew it had to be Azalea. Damien, we need to hurry. Something is wrong with Azalea, I told him. They are okay. Lily just linked me. Liam, can Azalea really heal people? I looked at him as we ran. I don't know, I told him truthfully. I can feel her now. She said they are locked in a room and they don't know what's outside it, he said. I could hear fear in his voice even inside the link. Damien was never this worried about Lily. We picked up the pace even further, pushing ourselves to get to our mates. I let Damien lead us now that he could feel Lily clearly. My heart ached not being able to feel Azalea. We changed course slightly. Soon we were nearing a clearing and we could tell there were wolves here. We slowed down and approached carefully. 3, Damien said and I nodded. Be careful. We know one can camouflage himself, I reminded him. Someone approached us from behind and I turned to see Felix's wolf with the identifying scar over his face. He nodded at me, telling me he was ready to rescue the girls. Azalea. Lily held me in her arms as I tried to keep myself conscious. I could tell Lily was nervous, which was not normal for her. Lily, what's wrong? I whispered. Nothing. I just want to get you out of here. I wasn't convinced. No, it's something else. I took a deep breath and realized her scent was different. You smell different, she tensed up. I tried to sit up to look at her better. Lily, are you? I started. Her eyes were rimmed with tears. She nodded slowly. And now I knew why she was scared. Wolfsbane could kill a pup. Her injury could have killed the pup. I may have fixed her side, but she had no idea if the pup she was carrying was okay. Lily, goddess, I am so sorry, I said. We need to get out of here, she said quietly. It was my turn to pull her close. I hugged her to me weakly. Does Damien know? I asked her quietly. She nodded her head. He will move the moon and earth to get to you and your pup, Lily. I could only imagine what was going on in her and Damien's head right now. Male wolves were especially protective of their pups and mates carrying them. There are some wolves who do not let their she-wolves out of their sight during the pregnancy. And now Lily was worried about losing the pup. I'm sure she could feel Damien through the bond, and he could feel her. Out of nowhere, we heard loud banging and growls outside the room. Lily sat up abruptly, a mixture of hope and worry on her face. We both held our breaths as we listened to the commotion outside the room. A door banged open outside of the room. Lily. Azalea. We heard our names at the same time and hope bloomed in my chest. Lily stood up, running to the door. She tried the handle and of course it was locked. She began banging on the door, calling out to our mates. I slumped against the wall, relief now taking over my mind. Liam was here for me. The door was pulled off its hinges and from the wall. My vision went blurry as I watched Lily leap into Damien's arms. They were only in the doorway momentarily before he swept her away and he was replaced by two familiar faces. Liam and Felix now stood in the doorway. Liam, I said. He was instantly over me, his warm hand cupped my cheek. Baby, are you okay? Are you hurt? His voice was laced with worry. I'm okay, I said softly. Liam pulled me to him, cradling me against his chest. I let my body mold to his, letting him surround me. Are you okay to run? Liam said. I realized he was talking to Felix. I turned my head to look at Felix, who was nursing a large gash in his arm. I had more voices around us, probably warriors entering the room. Let me help, I said to Liam. It worked because he looked at me like I was delusional. I held out my hand. Felix looked at me with a disbelieving look as well. Liam and Felix locked eyes before he stepped towards us. He grabbed my hand with his uninjured one. I closed my eyes and focused just like I had done with Lily. I focused on his arm and wanting the cut to heal. The warmth washed over me once again just like it had with Lily. I held on to Felix's hand, until everything faded away. For a moment, I heard Liam calling my name. Chapter 68. I sat by her beside listening to the slow rhythmic beep of the monitor next to her. I held her small hand in mine. I should not have let her do it. Felix was going to be fine. He would have healed in 2 days. He hasn't come in here with her, but he also hasn't left his post outside her room since. We slaughtered the 4 wolves that held the girls hostage. I had been right and the one with the gift had been camouflaged. He was the one who had attacked Felix. They had managed to remove the girls a few hours northeast of the pack's territory towards White Moon but had made the mistake of stopping. Luckily, the wolf's bane that they had given to Felix, Lily, and Azalea was not a strong dose. When we returned, Lily was immediately checked by my uncle and both she and the pup were okay. I could not properly congratulate my best friend though because my mate has been unconscious now for over 36 hours. When we told my uncle about our suspicions, he of course could only speculate. He suspected that her ability to heal others drained her own energy. He thought that it was extraordinary that she was able to heal 3 people before she lost consciousness. I did not need to be told she was extraordinary. "Alpha, your father is here and asking to speak to you," Felix linked me. Rage surged through me immediately. He was not here this time to get rid of her. I stood up, taking a deep breath. I opened the door and Felix stepped aside to reveal my father. "Yes?" I asked in a deadpan voice. "We need to talk," he said. "About what?" "You know about what. Step outside with me, now." He gave me a measured look. "No," I said. "What do you mean no?" "No, we will not have this conversation. My mate is lying there unconscious because she chose to help members of her pack. You will not come here and lecture me about how she is not good for this pack or me. That's not. I do not care what her parents did or what happened 15 years ago between you and your brother. I do not care about your opinion of me or her. I do care that another pack abducted my mate from right under my nose. I do care that this pack will not give her a chance because you vilified a child. Liam, you aren't Alpha." "I am." I was shouting now, and Felix had inched his way down the hall. "This is my pack. This is my mate. This is my responsibility and I failed. I failed and I do not need you to come here to tell me how much of a failure I am." "Stop," he finally shouted. I was breathing heavy now. "That is not why I am here." He paused, gauging my reaction. I simply waited for him to continue. "I was wrong." "You are right. I blamed your mate for the actions of her parents. When her mother came to Declan, I should have protected them both. Azalea should not have grown up treated the way she was. Your mother and I should have treated her like family. We failed her as a member of this pack." He sighed. "I am here to apologize." I was utterly dumbfounded. My father just apologized, to me no less. The man in front of me had never apologized for anything in his life. "You have defended this pack with your life. Your mate has risked her own life to save 3 other members of this pack, no matter how unbelievable. You have not failed. Being Alpha is not easy, son." With that he turned around and walked down the hall and out of the clinic. "Azalea!" I could hear Liam yelling. I could feel his guilt and despair deep in my chest. "This is my responsibility and I failed. I failed and I do not need you to come here to tell me how much of a failure I am." "Stop," came the undeniable voice of Alpha Robert. My heart began to race and the beeping on the monitor picked up its speed. "That is not why I am here." His voice was calmer. I could hear Liam breathing heavily. "I was wrong. You are right. I blamed your mate for the actions of her parents. When her mother came to Declan, I should have protected them both. Azalea should not have grown up treated the way she was. Your mother and I should have treated her like family. We failed her as a member of this pack. I am here to apologize." He paused for a moment. I opened my eyes and looked at the doorway. Liam stood there just as large as his father. I could just barely make out Alpha Robert's form in front of him. Neither of them had noticed that I was awake. "You have defended this pack with your life. Your mate has risked her own life to save 3 other members of this pack, no matter how unbelievable. You have not failed. Being alpha is not easy, son. Liam stood there for a moment before his shoulders sagged. He turned around and rubbed his hands over his face. Hey, I said quietly. His face shot up, his eyes locking with mine. Azalea, he said in a strained voice. I smiled and held my arms up. He rushed to my side, crushing me in a tight hug. You're awake, he breathed. I nodded. He let go of me, cupping my face in his hands. I could see the tears in his eyes. He pressed his forehead to mine. I am okay, Liam, I said, trying to reassure him. I rubbed my hands through his hair. I am here. Baby, I am so sorry I failed you, he whispered. I pulled his face away to look into his eyes. No, Liam. You didn't. You saved me, again. You always do, I told him. No, you are the hero in this story. Baby, you saved Lily and the pup. We were only able to find you because Damien could feel Lily again. I let you get taken and I almost didn't find you, Liam, how were you supposed to know? Plus, Felix was right there. They even got the best of him. I should have known White Moon would come after you as soon as they knew who you were. I should have known they would not just peacefully merge with us. I could sense his frustration, but I didn't think it was with me. I reached up and rubbed my thumb across his cheek. Everyone is okay. I am okay. It will all be okay, I cooed. I don't deserve you, Azalea, he said quietly. I gave him a sad look. Liam, you don't even know how wrong you are, I said before I kissed him. It was a careful and tender kiss. I wanted him to know how much I treasure him. His arms wrapped around me, pulling me closer to him. He moved his lips over mine gently. There was a knock on the door, breaking our moment. Well, I came to check on my nephew after being notified my brother was here. Glad to see you're awake, Luna, said Dr. Ron. I blushed. How are you feeling? He asked. Liam rested his head on my shoulder and held me close still. I gave Dr. Ron a small smile. I feel fine. Maybe a little tired still, but otherwise fine, I told him. I was a little embarrassed with Liam holding me, but I could tell he needed it. How about I come back, and we talk in the morning? If you are looking good, you can go home, Dr. Ron said with a knowing smile. You should both get some rest. He gave me a wink before backing out of the room. I wrapped my arms around Liam's shoulders, holding him in my arms. I snuggled my face into his neck and breathed in his scent. I love you so much, Liam, I linked him. We sat like that for a while before he sat up. How about we get some sleep, my love, he said. I could see how tired he was. I nodded at him. I let him scoop me up and position us on the bed. He laid down and placed me over top of him. I rested my head comfortably on his chest. Liam's arms were wrapped securely around me. I listened to his breathing for some time, noting that he was not falling asleep. Liam, can I talk to Gavin? I asked quietly. I peeked up at him. He was looking down at me, worried. Sure, baby, he said. He stroked the hair from my face before closing his eyes. When he opened them, his features got hard and his eyes were dark. Little mate, he said in a gravelly voice. Gavin, I said. His eyes held curiosity at my summon. Thank you, I said to him with a smile. For what? For getting me back. And I am sorry for worrying you, I told him. His features relaxed a bit. Little mate, we will always find you. But you must stop leaving us, he said, nuzzling my face with his nose. Okay, I agreed. Please don't be worried anymore. You and Liam need some rest. I won't be able to sleep if you both cannot. He sighed and tightened his grip on me. It is not that simple, he said finally. Did you capture the one who took us? I asked. He hesitated before nodding. Then for tonight, there is nothing to worry about. Just us, here together. Tomorrow we can worry about everything else, okay? Little mate, you are far wiser than we, he said, giving my nose a peck. Okay. We can worry about White Moon tomorrow. In the blink of an eye, Liam was back with me. You are going to be the best Luna this pack has ever had, Liam said, kissing the top of my head. I simply cuddled myself into him, letting his touch and scent comfort me into a restful sleep. Just like he promised, Dr. Ron released me the next morning and Liam was treating me like glass. Felix now accompanied me even when I was with Liam and was much more uptight. Lily had come to see me first thing in the morning and cried when she thanked me. I could even see Damien tear up a little bit. We were currently sitting in Liam's office. He and Damien were having silent conversations. I assumed they had to be about White Moon. Liam had reluctantly told me about the Delta coming to distract him and Damien while someone with a gift was sent to abduct me and Lily happened to be collateral damage. If Felix had not been with us and Jacob had not come to drop off the seating cards, they may have been successful. Lily and I were sitting on the couch messing with the seating chart. Felix stood some 3 feet away from the couch. I knew she was just trying to distract me from everything going on, but it was not working. I was worried about what Liam and Damien were planning for White Moon. Lily moved around the labeled magnets on the board while I stared blankly at it. What's wrong, baby? Do you feel okay? I heard Liam's voice. I looked up to see him giving me a worried look. I am fine, Liam. I've told you 1,000 times, I feel better now, I linked back. Lily looked up at me eyeing Liam. Damien, let's go get some lunch. Your pup is hungry since it made me vomit all my breakfast up, she said nonchalantly. He turned. He was immediately in front of her to help her stand up. I rolled my eyes and smiled at her. She winked at me as he pulled her up and held her hand to escort her from the room. He was such a doting mate. Liam smiled and shook his head. She's got him wrapped around her finger, he said. I stood and turned to Felix. Felix, could you please give me and Liam a few minutes? I asked sweetly. He looked from me to Liam, waiting for my mate to give the okay. Liam must have given him the okay because he gave me a curt nod and exited the office. I suspected he was right outside the door. I sighed and turned to my mate. Liam, this can't continue, I said, coming around the desk. What do you mean? I stood in front of him with my hands on my hips. I do not need 24/7 protection from both you and Felix, and you don't need to treat me like I am going to break. We know that I can heal people, and we know that it takes away my energy. But I am fine. We both know if I wouldn't have helped Lily, they would have lost the pup. That's not the point, he almost shouted back. My eyes widened in surprise. Liam had never yelled at me. I looked into his eyes and saw so much stress in his features. Liam, what is this really about? You keep getting hurt. I am supposed to protect you, and I keep letting you get hurt. It felt like he was yelling at himself more than me at this point. How can I lead this pack when I can't even protect my own mate? There it was. All his insecurity was coming out. I climbed into his lap, straddling him. His face softened with surprise. I brushed his unkempt hair from his face and placed a soft kiss on his cheek. Liam, you can't protect me from everything. You are doing more than enough. You have assigned me a guard that will not leave my side. You must accept that I am always going to be vulnerable to some degree. You are a strong alpha. Even if they do not like me yet, your pack loves you. You need to give yourself a break, you need to stop taking all the blame, I chided. His eyes stared into mine. His hands came up to cup my face. You are right, and I am sorry. It's just, every time you get hurt. I am so afraid I am going to lose you. Azalea, I just got you and I almost messed it up completely. I can't lose you, I wouldn't survive. Liam, you aren't going to lose me. I promise. I want to be your Luna. I want to grow old with you. I want to see what our life brings. His lips came to mine in a needy kiss. When he pulled away, I gave him a soft smile. Maybe we should take the rest of the day away from the pack. Forget about White Moon and wedding plans, I suggested. He nodded his head. That sounds perfect, he said. I could tell he was a little calmer now. Can I make one request? I said. Anything, he said. Give Felix the day off. No more you and him both not leaving my side, Azalea, he groaned. I gave him a look. But, no. It's too much. I won't complain about keeping him around when you aren't with me, but both of you are too much, okay? He hung his head for a moment. Okay. As long as he or I are always with you and you won't fight me on that, I will send him away when you are with me, he agreed. I smiled brightly at him. One more thing, what are you planning on doing to White Moon? Recommended series. Lusting for Ralph. Ch. Epilogue. Lusting for Ralph 8.9. The gorgeous substitute wife of Ch. Epilogue 9.0. A lethal lady. Ch. Epilogue. A lethal lady 7.8. The Alpha Territories. Volume 4 Ch 25 8.9. Sweetest Sin. Sweetest Sin 7.6. Comment. Privacy and cookie settings. Managed by Google. Complies with IABTCF. CMP ID 300 Home Policy about Contact AZ List Searching Series Order by Alphabet Name A to Z. Number 0 to 9 A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V W X Y Z. Copyright 2024 Jobnub. All rights reserved. Disclaimer: this site Jobnub does not store any files on its server. All contents are provided by non-affiliated third parties. Name * email *. Your email address will not be published. Required fields are marked * comment * save my name, email, and website in this browser for the next time I comment. Post comment. His redemption, complete his series, chapter 69. No matter how hard I tried, Liam would not tell me about what he intended to do about White Moon. I had a nervous feeling in my stomach about it all. Liam wanted to get away from the pack for the night and suggested we go back over to the inn and spend the night in my apartment. I agreed, thinking it might be nice to have time to actually catch Amy up to speed fully as well as get the rest of my things and tell everyone goodbye. I missed little Abi something fierce. We were sitting in Liam's SUV on our way over to the human town. Liam had his hand on my leg as we drove. I watched the scenery outside the window as we drove. I was lost in thought when I heard Liam's voice in my head. What are you thinking about, baby? I smiled and turned my head to him. Not much really. Feels a little odd to be going back, I told him. You wanna know something? What? You haven't gotten motion sick since I marked you, he said with a big smile. My eyes widened. I realized he was right. Liam chuckled at my reaction. How didn't I notice? I exclaimed. I don't know. I thought about it when we came home from our night in the city, he said. We are almost to the inn and you haven't said a word. I feel perfectly normal, I said with a huge smile. I'm glad, he said, returning my smile. Soon enough, we were parking in the inn's parking lot. As usual, I waited for Liam to come around and open my door. There were some things about him that may seem silly, but they just made me love him more. The little ways he took care of me and showed his love for me like this would never get old. We walked hand in hand through the front door of the inn. Lemon was at the front desk. When she looked up and saw me, she smiled brightly. Her smile faltered a little as she looked at our hands. Lee, you're back, she chirped. I giggled. Yep, for the night, I told her. We have missed you so much. Things aren't quite the same around here without you, she said. I'm sorry about that, I said. Is Amy back in the kitchen? Yeah, she will be excited to see you, Lemon said with a smile. I pulled Liam's hand and we made our way to the kitchen. It was much different than before. It was almost dinner time now and there were 3 people bustling around the kitchen. I looked around and realized Amy was hovering over ABI in the corner. Liam dropped my hand and pushed me towards them with a knowing smile. I'll go wait out back for you. Catch up with Amy but don't leave me for long, he linked. I gave him a big smile and rushed over to them. ABI caught sight of me from behind her mother and screamed Isla. Amy stopped and turned around, a smile spreading across her face. You're back, she yelled. I laughed. Yes, for tonight, I said. I missed my girls. Amy crushed me in a hug. When she finally let me go, she said, I know you called to tell me you were okay, but we were so worried when you were taken. I am so glad to see you. I am too, I said, tearing up. I am sorry about everything. I missed you so much, Ames. We missed you too, she said, also tearing up. Why don't we take ABI to the lobby and we can catch up? Dinner is almost done anyway and the staff can handle it. I giggled. Your staff? Oh, yeah. Lots has changed around here in the past couple weeks. Amy and I spent over 2 hours talking and catching up in the inn lobby. We played with ABI while we filled each other in on everything. ABI was growing like a weed and seemed like she was twice as big as when I left a few weeks ago. Business at the inn has been booming, so the extra staff has been necessary, especially without my presence. Apparently, Liam had purchased the adjacent land to the inn and there was going to be a second building added soon. The old man had been a little more open with Amy now that she knew about us. She even told me that some wolves had moved into town. I figured this was all Liam's doing. Amy was happy that Liam and I were happy now. She didn't fully understand the marking part but was supportive nonetheless. She did ask when we would be getting married, which made me pause. We had not talked about getting married at all. We were interrupted by a very grumpy alpha who had come to take me back with him eventually. Amy just laughed and told me she would send some dinner back and we could talk in the morning. I let Liam drag me back to my little cottage apartment. But when I got back inside, I barely recognized the place. Top to bottom, the entire space was almost brand new. There was now a large, king-sized bed where my small bed used to be. The walls, although still wood, were finished. The desk and dresser were gone. There was now a small table with 2 chairs. The kitchenette was updated slightly with new cabinets. The closet now held a miniature wardrobe for both Liam and me. The bathroom had updated fixtures and held toiletries for both of us. The biggest change was the small flat screen now mounted to the wall across from the bed with floating shelves containing books all around it. So, who did this? I asked with a raised eyebrow as I looked around. Well, I may have hired a few people to update it a little bit after I bought the land next door, he said. I guess this explains why he was not bored sooner. But why? I do not live here anymore. We live at the pack house, I pointed out. Well, since you now own part of the inn and business will only grow after the expansion is done, I figured we will probably spend some time over here. I thought you might like to stay in your own place, and of course I am not going to let you stay out here all alone. My jaw dropped. What did he just say? Liam closed the distance between us and closed my mouth with his finger. Is something the matter, baby? He said with a smirk. He loved surprising me. I own part of the inn. I finally asked. Yeah. The old man will be retiring soon, and when I approached him about a partnership, he said I would need to consult with the person he would be leaving the inn to. Luckily, that person is my mate, he said with a smile. So, he is leaving me the inn. Yeah. And our partnership agreement will relinquish the other half of the ownership once profits are made to cover the cost of the additional construction. I don't understand, I was absolutely shocked. Liam wrapped his arms around me. You are amazing, and you worked so hard here. The old man does not have any children, and you were the closest thing to family he has had in years. He knew you would take good care of this place. He nuzzled my face with his. My eyes brimmed with tears. I didn't want you to lose the first place that felt like home, he said quietly. That broke me. The tears fell freely. I buried my face in his neck and wrapped my arms around him. Liam held me and let me cry. Finally, I leaned up and kissed him on the cheek. Thank you, I said softly. If I am being honest, it wasn't all my idea, he said. I gave him an inquisitive look. Gavin, he simply replied. We were interrupted by a knock on the door. Liam left me standing in the middle of the apartment to answer it. When I looked over, he was closing the door with a bag in his hand. Liam, Amy sent us some food, I said, turning around to my beautiful mate. Her face was a little red and puffy from the tears, but she still took my breath away. I am glad she took all the changes I made well. I told the contractors to keep the same atmosphere but update the structure. At least there was central heating and air now. Gavin was the one who suggested renovating instead of rebuilding. We ate the food Amy sent back for us, and Azalea filled me in on everything Amy had told her. She seemed at ease coming back to the inn. As long as Azalea was content, so was Gavin, which put me in an all-around great mood. After we ate, we got into bed and Azalea cuddled up to me. I switched the TV on and flipped through the channels until I found an old movie. She was in the habit of wearing my shirts to bed now, and I could not complain. I slipped my hand under her shirt and rubbed her soft skin lightly while we laid together. Liam, Azalea said softly. Yes, little Luna. Can I talk to Gavin? She asked. That was surprising. She had only asked to see him when something needed resolved. I looked down at her doe eyes peeking up at me. Any reason why? I asked her. Her features scrunched up like she was thinking hard about something, and I could not help but think how cute it was when she did that. She finally spoke. Well, he is my mate too, right? And I have not spent much time with him. I know that is partly because of what happened, but I have this feeling that he feels a little forgotten. I think it would be good for us if I made a little time for him. I reached up and brushed a piece of hair away from her face, tucking it behind her ear. I smiled at her. "Okay, little Luna," I said quietly. I leaned down and gave her a soft kiss before I let Gavin come forward. "Azalea, hello, little mate," he said as he opened his eyes and looked down at me. "Hi, Gavin," I said. "So, you think we should spend time together?" he asked. I nodded my head. "And what do you wish to do?" I thought for a second. "I don't know. What would you like to do?" "This," he said, and he bent down and covered my mouth with his. His kiss was intense but not rough. It was dominating but not punishing. When he finally let me go, I gasped for air. "Wow," I said breathlessly. He smirked in an adorably CKY way. "Liam and I are very different, little mate," he said as if it was not very obvious. I smiled at him. He reached up and ran his fingers over my face. "Would you like me to show you?" His look was intense, and it felt like he was asking me for a chance. I nodded my head timidly. A sxy grin stretched across his face before his mouth was over mine once again. His kiss possessed me, warmth blossomed in my body. His hands came to my face, tilting my head to give him better access. I let him have it, submitting to him. Soon, he was shifting our bodies so that he was over top of me. He flexed his hips into me and pushed me into the soft bed. My hands came up to feel his chest. Without breaking our kiss, his hands came around my wrists and moved them to the sides of my head. I froze momentarily under him. His hands firmly adjusted from grasping my wrists to his fingers intertwining in mine. He held my hands firmly next to my head and I relaxed. He bit my lip as he growled a bit. I gasped in surprise and moaned as his tongue plunged into my mouth. His tongue tasted every part of me as I moaned. Finally, he broke away, both of us gasping for air. His nose went to my neck, breathing in my scent before his lips were on my mark. My back arched into him as he sucked hard on my mark, sending jolts of pleasure throughout me. My hands gripped onto his tighter. One of his hands left mine and worked its way down my side and up into Liam's shirt that I was wearing. His hand came to my panties when he whispered, "You won't be needing these," and shredded them. His lips came right up next to my ear as his hand schemed along the lips of my swollen psy. "If it is too much, stop me, little mate, and I will just hold you," he said in a seductive voice. "Gavin," I moaned breathlessly, I was quivering under his touch. Before I knew what was happening, his was positioning his CK at my entrance. He captured my lips once more at the same time he pushed into me hard. He stilled inside of me for only a moment before he began pumping his hips. His hand came back to holding mine. He thrust into me with force as I squeezed on his hands. "Little mate, you feel so good," he groaned. He was quickly bringing me to the edge. Before I was pushed over, he pulled out of me completely. My eyes shot open as he grabbed onto me and rolled us over all in one motion. He let go of my hands and held onto my hips, positioning me right over his swollen CK. "Hold on, little mate," he said as he slammed my body down onto him. I screamed at the forceful pleasure. He was buried deep inside me but did not stop. He lifted me again and began to repeatedly bring me down on his length. I threw my head back, letting him FK me how he wanted to. My arms gripped his, trying to hold on. I could feel his legs stiffen underneath me. "C*M for me, little mate," he said in a provocative tone, and my body obeyed. I came undone around him and a few thrusts later he was reaching his own climax inside me. Once he regained his composure, he let me fall to his chest and lay there as I came down from the high he just took me to. "Good girl," he said quietly as his hand stroked my hair. "I will give you back Liam." I sighed. I knew Gavin wasn't the best at expressing himself, but I felt like we had gotten just a little closer now. I felt a kiss on the top of my head as my eyes fluttered closed. Chapter 70. We stayed at the inn until after lunch the next day. Liam was patient and doting the entire time and seemed far more relaxed than he was back at the pack. He played with Abi in the grass while Amy and I had coffee after breakfast. I could not take my eyes off of him. He chased her and played with her, he was patient and attentive. My heart melted watching him. I was not excited about going back to the pack. I had an uneasy feeling about the next couple weeks. Damien and Lily's wedding was less than a week away. Liam told me that Lily had been driving Damien crazy and he was worried about all the stress affecting the pup. Luckily, the dress did not need to be resized as she wasn't showing yet. Damien asked if I could take over wedding prep with his mom so Lily could relax. I told Liam I would, but I was nervous. This was going to mean I would be interacting with more pack members and I was not sure how that would go after Liam announced me as his mate. He tried to reassure me that everything would be alright but I couldn't help but be nervous when he wasn't with me. When we arrived back at the pack house, Liam was pulled away to work. Mrs. Hale ambushed me in our room, dragging me away before I could unpack our things. "Come on, sweetheart. Lots to do while my grandpup is baking," she said in a cheery voice. "What do you mean? I thought almost everything was done." I asked her nervously. "Liam didn't tell you, dear." "Tell me what exactly?" I asked as we rounded the corner and walked through the kitchen doors. Felix was waiting inside with Missy. "Yay! It's time to make the cake!" Missy cheered. "Wait, cake? Are we making the wedding cake?" I asked looking around. "Yes. That is why Lily asked for you to come help." "Didn't Liam tell you the bakery had to cancel the cake order?" Mrs. Hale said. Felix stood to the side while Missy danced around, waiting for us to begin. I gave a short laugh. "No, he did not." "So, what does the bride want exactly?" Mrs. Hale smiled, and we got to work. In 5 short days, Mrs. Hale and I performed a miracle. I was not aware of all the prep work that went into a wedding. We made a delicious banana and strawberry wedding cake as well as cupcakes to match. We also prepped rooms for all the incoming guests from other packs. It had begun to snow, which fit in great with the wintry theme Lily had chosen. The wedding colors were silver and blue. Even though we had moved all decorations and set up inside, the outside wintry atmosphere was adding to the mood. Lily was absolutely glowing, beyond thrilled with everything we had accomplished. It is now Friday, and the bulk of the guests will be arriving today with the wedding happening tomorrow. We were down in the kitchen. I was prepping some chickens to roast for dinner while Lily sat at the counter snacking. Felix was outside the door, tired of listening to wedding talk, I am sure. She was talking animatedly about the plans for the honeymoon. She stopped mid-sentence and I looked up to see her eyes glazed over for a moment. "So, I think maybe we should wrap it up down here," Lily said, coming back to our conversation. "Why?" I said. "Because Gwen is here," she said as the kitchen door burst open. "Lily!" Gwen's annoying voice called. "Who is the man muscle in the hallway?" She stopped seeing me. "Hey, I didn't think you were staying in the pack house. I thought you would go straight to your parents," Lily said with a shallow laugh. Gwen kept her eyes on me. "Yet, Mom said my dear brother was slaving away with Liam today, so I came to see him," she said as she turned to Lily. Anyway, what's the wall of muscle outside the door? That is a Liam thing. Don't worry about it. How have you been? Lily said, standing. She shot me a nervous glance and I nodded at her. Gwen was doing her best to ignore me. Totally boring. I am hoping Dad will let me stay now that I am back for a few days. Mom was in tears when I got here, Gwen told her. Lily walked towards her, trying to divert her attention and move her from the room. She has really missed you, Lily told her. Before Lily could get her out the door, Damien and Liam walked in. Liam locked eyes with me. You okay? He immediately linked. I gave him a tight smile and nodded. Gwen decided she was overjoyed to see both Damien and Liam. She squealed and jumped at the two of them standing side by side. Her arms managed to wrap around both their necks as they caught her, both caught off guard by her enthusiasm. Jealousy and rage bloomed in my chest immediately. Liam's eyes were wide as he untangled himself from Gwen's embrace. That's enough, Gwen, Damien said as he pulled her off. Aren't you supposed to be with Mom and Dad? How could I not come to drag my two favorite boys away from all that boring work, she said in her fake sweet voice. This time it was Lily who growled, surprising everyone. We all looked at her as she held her hand up to her mouth. Sorry, I think it's the hormones. Damien left Gwen to go to his mate and pulled her into his arms protectively. She smiled at his attention. Before he could move, Gwen clamped onto Liam's arm and cooed at Damien and Lily. My eyes went wide. Liam tried to push her off, but she seemed determined. Gwen, Damien's voice interrupted. He was clearly irritated. Let go of him. You do not get to ignore his mate who stands 10 feet away from you. Her face got angry. She let go of Liam before turning on her heel and stomping out. I looked at Damien and mouthed a thank you as Liam came over to me. He and Lily left the kitchen. I closed my eyes as Liam wrapped his arms around me. I'm sorry. We came down here as quickly as we could, he said. It's okay. I'm okay, I said. His hand came up to my face and wiped away a tear I did not know had fallen. There is nothing to be jealous of. I only have eyes for my little Luna, he said softly. I opened my eyes to look up into my favorite blue eyes. I know, I said. Want to come to my office with me until it's time to get ready for the rehearsal dinner? The caterers should be here in the next hour to start cooking. I smiled at him. That sounds nice. Can I sit with you while you work? For some reason I just wanted to be close to him right now. Of course, baby, he said as he pulled me close. I let his scent calm me. I stood in the mirror in the bathroom, pinning my curls back from my face. Liam walked in behind me. He looked handsome in his dress clothes. I was wearing a blue and silver dress that Lily picked out. It was really pretty with draping layers of blue hues. Liam had a silver dress shirt on, and he made me want to drool. You are going to outshine the bride, sweetheart, Liam said in my ear from behind me. I smiled at him in the mirror. Oh no, it is their night. We are just there for support, I said to him. I know where my eyes will be all night, he said. I rolled my eyes. Pinning the last curl in place, I turned to my mate. Let's go, my alpha. People will be expecting you, I said. His eyes darkened a bit. I needlessly adjusted the collar of his shirt so I could touch his chest before I turned to leave the bathroom. We headed into the bedroom where I slipped on some short heels. Liam grabbed his phone and put on a watch. When we were both ready, he held out his arm for me to hold as we went downstairs. When we got downstairs, we walked into the hall where the tables for dinner were set up. There was already a good amount of people gathered, but we did not see Damien and Lily yet. Liam led me towards the front of the room to the table we would be sharing with Damien and Lily. Of course, we were stopped before we could get there. He was an older gentleman, probably around Alpha Robert's age. He had a woman at his side that was clearly his mate. "Alpha, it's good to see you. Is this your lovely mate?" the man said. "Alpha Langston, it is great to see you too." "Yes, this is my mate. Azalea, let me introduce you to Alpha Langston and his mate Ella. They are from our neighboring pack," Liam said. "It is so nice to meet you," I said with a smile. "Oh darling, she is beautiful. You better treat her well, Liam," Ella said, looking me up and down. I gave her a smile. "Wouldn't dream of anything less," Liam said, giving me a warm smile. "We should take our seats, dear," Alpha Langston said to his mate. "It was lovely to meet you, Azalea." We waved goodbye to them and continued towards the table. Liam and I sat down together waiting for it to be time to begin. Liam would be announcing Damien and Lily, then their parents would give some short speeches and we would be served dinner. Liam and I were talking when his eyes hardened at something over my shoulder. I turned to see his parents behind us. I froze, not knowing what would happen. Liam stood and took a protective step towards me. "Mother, father," he said. He was tense. I swallowed my fear and stood up. His arm came around my waist and I faced his parents with him. "Azalea, you look nice, dear," said Lunalisa. Thank you," I whispered. Liam's arm tightened protectively around me. "You two have made it abundantly clear that you do not approve of my goddess-given mate. What do you want?" Liam said in a cold tone. "Son, adjust your tone. Your mother and I are not here to fight with you. We are here," he trailed off. "We are here to apologize. Liam, you are our only child and we have behaved abhorrently towards you and your mate. Your father and I have discussed it, and we would like to be there for her Luna ceremony if you will let us," said Liam's mother. She looked at me now. "Azalea, we are truly sorry for how you were treated previously. We are sorry for our actions. We know we cannot make up for the past, but we would like it if you could give us a chance for a future." I was shocked. Liam looked at his father. "Father," he said. "We would like to support Azalea as Luna if you will allow us to," he said in a gruff tone. "Decisions don't need to be made tonight. I am sure Damien and Lily will be along any minute," said Lunalisa. She pulled her maid away and left Liam and I standing there. "Liam," I whispered. His arm tightened around me even more. "Are you okay?" He did not say anything for a moment. His grip loosened slightly, and I turned to face him. His eyes were hard as they followed his parents as they walked around the room. I reached my hand up to his face. He finally snapped out of and looked down at me. "I'm sorry, baby," he said. He ran his nose along mine. I closed my eyes and savored the contact, letting his touch calm my nerves. "Let's talk about this later, okay?" "Okay." Damien just linked. "Time to begin," he agreed. He let go of my waist and let me step back. He quickly grabbed my hand, keeping me standing next to him. He called attention to the room and everyone looked to us. "Welcome friends and family. Thank you for joining us. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce my best friend and beta of Blood Eclipse, Damien Hale, and his wonderful mate, Lily," Liam's voice boomed. Damien entered the room with Lily on his arm. She looked radiant in a silver dress. Damien had the largest grin on his face, he looked like a man in love. I could not wait to see his face when she walked down the aisle to him tomorrow. Damien and Lily met us at the table in the front. We all exchanged hugs. Soon we were listening to sweet speeches from both their parents and dinner was being served. We all talked comfortably at dinner with plenty of interruptions from people coming up to congratulate the couple and pay respect to Liam. After dinner, people began to slowly vanish. I had my fill of alpha mate duties, so I began helping clear plates and take them to the kitchen. I was feeling a little overwhelmed by it all. I leaned against the counter in the kitchen after all the dishes were collected. The caterers had started breaking down the tables, so I was alone in the kitchen. I leaned against the counter, taking a deep breath. I am sure I would get used to all this stuff as time went on, but talking to so many people was a little draining. I heard the door open and assumed it was a caterer bringing something in. So, the little leech isn't attached 24/7 after all, said a cold voice. My eyes flew open to Gwen standing right in front of me. He get bored of you and send you to the kitchen, she sneered. What do you want, Gwen? I asked quietly. I was not very confident in my voice right now. I want you to leave. I want you to go so Liam and I can be mates like we are supposed to be, she said. She crossed her arms. That isn't going to happen. He is my mate, Gwen. And he dumped your A*s years ago. Quite literally. You have no idea what you're talking about. So, he didn't reject you and leave you all alone in that stupid, run-down inn. That is enough. Liam's voice boomed behind us. Gwen, I warned you. Leave now and do not speak to Azalea again, he threatened. I could feel his alpha authority in his voice. Gwen could not help but comply. She bowed her head in submission and walked out of the room. Liam came around the counter to face me. You disappeared, he said softly, cupping my cheek in his hand. I'm sorry, I said. I shouldn't have let Felix go home, he said looking down at me. I will talk to Declan about keeping her away from you tomorrow. And then she leaves on Sunday. I just nodded my head, giving him a tight smile. Sweetheart, what is wrong? Did she say something to upset you? Kind of. It's okay. I'm okay, I told him. I hated that Gwen's words affected me so much. He pulled me to his chest, wrapping his arms around me. It's been a long week. I am sure you are just overwhelmed. I am so proud of you though, he said softly into my hair. Let's just go to bed. Tomorrow will be a long day and I am sure you will be needed to calm a crazed Lily. I smiled at that. With no warning, Liam bent down and scooped me up. I just laid against him, letting him carry me to bed. Chapter 71. I woke up wrapped up in the firm embrace of my handsome mate. I smiled at his sweet face that was patiently waiting for me. What time is it? I asked. About 30 minutes after your first summons of the day, he chuckled. His nose moved to my neck as his hands began to roam my body. What does that mean? I asked, starting to get distracted. Lily has been up for almost an hour and apparently being away from Damien last night has her all worked up. She linked me 30 minutes ago to get me to send you down to her, he explained. Is she okay? I am sure she will be for the next 10 or 20 minutes, he said kissing my neck. I giggled at his ministrations. He moved my shirt enough so that he had access to my collarbone as his mouth moved. I hummed in appreciation. Before anything could get more heated, we heard banging on the door. Liam paused momentarily before continuing. The banging continued. Argh! He finally groaned as his head came up. I giggled. I guess she won't be okay, I said, still laughing. He gave me a dangerous look. Come on, alpha boy. Give me the Luna and no one gets hurt. Came Lily's voice through the door. You know, she's the only person in this whole pack house that gets away with talking to me like that, he grumbled. Ah, don't kid. You're a big softy, my alpha, I said with a smile. His eyes darkened. No, no, no. No funny business. The bridesmaids are doing her makeup while I do her hair. And we need to steam the dress. Liam gave me a pouty face. Liam opened the door. Let her go or I will kick your BT. Lily yelled again as she continued to pound on the door. I could take her, he grumbled as he rolled off me and retrieved a shirt. I got up and slipped on some sweatpants. He headed to the door as I pulled my messy waves into a floppy bun atop my head. You could have given me 10 more minutes. She is my mate, Liam said to an irritable Lily as he opened the door. And it's my wedding day, Lily said, crossing her arms. Blushing, best friend bride beats mate today, she said sticking her tongue out. I laughed from behind Liam. All right, you two. I love you both now let's get along, I said from behind Liam. He turned to me pouting like a puppy dog. But, baby, he said sticking his lip out. He wrapped his arms around me. I looked up into his clear blue eyes. Ah! My mighty alpha, it is time to leave me. I am sure Felix is already on his way. You should go do whatever it is the groomsmen will be doing until the wedding. I will see you at the ceremony though, I said pecking his pouty mouth. Fine, he said, hanging his head. He perked up and showered me with kisses before he let go of me. He left me smiling at his sweetness. The suits are already in our room and Damien is waiting. Austin should be coming anytime, Lily called as Liam left the room. Lily rushed in and pulled me into a hug. Thank you so much for helping this week and today. I have been going absolutely crazy. I am so excited and nervous, she said to me. Over her shoulder, Katie, Betty, and Felix stood in the doorway waiting for Lily to be ready. Of course, Lil. Where else would I be? I said. She broke away from me and turned to everyone in the doorway. The girls and I used Liam and I's room to get ready. The boys were getting ready in Damien and Lily's room. Katie was the maid of honor and Betty the only other bridesmaid. I wasn't a bridesmaid simply because we didn't have the time to get the dress or another groomsman to match. Lily, Liam, and Damien didn't want to tell me Jacob had flat out refused to be the third groomsman if he was paired with me. I had overheard Damien, Liam, and him arguing about it outside Liam's office one day. Felix had given me a sad look as we stood outside the door. I did not mind though. I would be sitting with the parents in the front row. We pampered Lily for a bit before we all started getting ready. Lily's mom had sent someone up to do Lily's nails. Once that was done, the girls went to work on her makeup, and I started doing her hair. I wasn't a professional or anything, but she had asked me to do it. She said my hair always looked effortlessly elegant, which made me giggle. Once Lily was all done, I helped the other girls get ready as well. Felix begrudgingly sat near the door the entire time at Liam's request, I am sure. He would be joining me at the wedding until after the ceremony. Once Lily and her bridal party had all their hair and makeup done, Lily and I helped Katie and Betty into their dresses. Felix decided to step outside the door now. They were gorgeous light blue dresses with silver swirling on the busts. They had only one strap with skirts that flowed down to knee length in the front and floor length in the back. They had matching silver heels as well that brought the whole look together. I left Katie and Betty to help Lily into her dress while I went to quickly get myself ready. I went to my closet and pulled out the long-sleeve wrap dress Lily had gotten me to match everyone. It was silver with sequin designs on the skirt. I was so thankful for the sleeves so I would not be cold. "How are you doing, sweetheart?" Liam linked me. I smiled. "We're almost ready." "I miss you," I linked back. "I would be happy to come save you." "No, stay down there. I won't actually get dressed if you come up. But that is the way I like it." I could hear even through the link. "Can you send Austin up soon?" "Felix should go get ready too," I asked sweetly. "Fine," he said. I got dressed quickly so I could do my hair before it was time. A photographer was coming to take before pictures about 30 minutes before the ceremony started. I emerged from the closet to find Lily's mom and Mrs. Hale in the room with everyone. "Oh Azalea, there you are. Darling, that dress is beautiful," said Mrs. Hale. I gave her a warm smile. "Well, Lily picked it out, so all credit goes to her," I told her. "Liam will love it," she said warmly, making me blush. "I just need to slip into the bathroom for a minute to do my hair," I told her. Austin came in then. He winked at me as I escaped to the bathroom and everyone talked while I finished getting ready. The photographer came and took lots of photos. Felix came back as he wrapped up and Austin took the photographer back down to the boys to get pictures there. The moms left with them. Lily was fidgeting nervously in front of the mirror. "You okay?" I asked coming up behind her. "Yeah, just nervous," she said quietly. "What are you nervous about?" She sighed. "Before Damien and I found each other as mates, no one ever looked at me twice. Yet I had a few close friends, but it seemed like I never held anyone's attention for very long. I guess some part of me is waiting for him to forget about me too," she said. "Oh, Lil. That will never happen. Every time you are in a room with Damien, his eyes are on you. When you walk in the room, his attention goes to you in an instant. You have him wrapped around your finger and I do not know that anything has ever made him happier." He told Liam he hopes the pup is a girl who looks exactly like her mom. "Damien is your forever and you shouldn't worry about it," I told her. Her eyes teared up. She turned around and hugged me tight. "Thank you," she whispered. Felix came into the room. "Luna, it is time for us to go down," he said in a flat tone. "One day he will loosen up," Lily laughed as we separated. "You ready now?" I asked with a smile. "Yeah," she said with a radiant smile. "Let's go." Lily, Katie, and Betty followed Felix and I downstairs. They waited in the hall while Felix and I went to take our seats. As soon as we sat down, someone behind us grumbled about the wall that just sat in front of them. I giggled as I noticed a blush go across Felix's face. Soon enough, Damien, Liam, and Austin filed in to stand in front of the altar. Liam looked incredibly handsome in his suit. He winked at me and I could feel myself blush. I really hope I never stop feeling like this around him. Soon the music started, and it was time to begin. Katie and Betty came in and then everyone stood and waited patiently for Lily. Lily entered and while everyone had eyes on her, I turned to look at Damien. I have never seen him so happy and amazed. His eyes were brimming with tears and I was sure they were of joy. After the ceremony, the bridal party exited for photos. I stayed with Felix while the hall was quickly converted to seating for the reception. I helped Mrs. Hale and Lily's mom get the hall in order, but I was interrupted by Felix. "Miss Lily is asking for you," he said. "Oh, okay. Let's go," I said. He led me out of the hall and onto the back terrace. It was cold out, but Liam was immediately by my side. Lily wanted pictures with both of us, he said with a smile. Of course, I said, smiling at him. I missed you, he said, smiling down at me. I missed you too. You look incredible, sweetheart. I smiled at his words. I tilted my face up and his came down to mine in a tender kiss. Lily and the photographer positioned us for multiple pictures. Everyone else went inside while the pictures were taken. Some were of the four of us and some were of Lily and I together. Finally, Lily asked for a few pictures of Liam and I together. We went along with it, changing positions as directed. We were standing next to each other while the photographer snapped away when I felt Liam move. I diverted my eyes to him only to see him kneeling and facing me. What are you doing? I asked quietly. He smiled sweetly. Azalea, you are the love of my life. In every way you challenge me to be a better man and alpha. You never fail to amaze me and surprise me. I know things have not been the best for us and I still have a lot to make up for. I am hoping you will give me that opportunity by marrying me, he said as he produced a ring box from his pocket. My hands covered my mouth in shock. I looked around to see Damien with his arms around Lily and them giving us a knowing smile. Of course, they helped him plan this. I looked back down to Liam. He opened the ring box to show me the beautiful diamond ring inside. Liam, I said breathlessly. What do you say, baby? Will you be my Luna? He said with a smile. Words would not form in my mouth. Tears were welling up in my eyes. I nodded my head enthusiastically. He smiled impossibly larger. He shot up, scooping me up into a hug and swinging me around in his arms. He smashed his lips to mine in a fervent kiss. When we finally broke apart, I realized the photographer had captured everything thanks to their plan. Liam set me down and pulled the ring from the box. I held out my hand as he slipped it on my finger. I love you so much, Azalea, he whispered as he grabbed my face and kissed me again. I love you too, Liam, I said when he let me go. I wrapped my arms around his neck and melted into his embrace. When we finally pulled apart, he looked down at me and said, as much as I want to disappear to our room with my fiancé, we should probably head in. It's cold out here and everyone is waiting for us and the happy couple. I smiled and nodded. He wrapped his arm around me as Damien and Lily joined us. We headed into the hall while Damien and Lily waited to be announced. We sat down at our table at the front of the hall facing everyone. Liam stood to announce the bridal party. Once everyone was seated, we began dinner. After dinner it was time for speeches. Damien stood up first. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I could not be happier to marry the love of my life surrounded by all our friends and family. Before we get to the toasts for the evening, there is someone else I need to congratulate. It is my pleasure to inform everyone that my best friend and Alpha has proposed to his mate and she has accepted. Everyone put your hands together for the future Mr. and Mrs. Liam Blackfor. Damien said happily. My cheeks flamed. Liam stood and pulled me up with him. He wrapped his arms around me. To my surprise, everyone in the hall clapped and cheered. I was shocked as I looked around. Even the former Alpha and Luna were clapping. Liam leaned over and kissed me, earning more cheers. He smiled at me and I smiled back. Liam and the maid of honor made toasts to Damien and Lily followed by their parents. After all the toasts, Damien and Lily had their first dance. Then the cake was cut and served, and everyone began to move around the hall. Liam took me to the dance floor, and we danced for a while. He was incredibly graceful and made it look like I knew what I was doing. We inevitably reached the point where we were stopped by endless people to congratulate us on our engagement and for them to talk to Liam about various pack-related things. I stood by his side for most of it. Finally, I needed to use the restroom. "Liam, I need to run to the restroom," I linked him. "Okay, I will take you," he linked back. "No, stay here and talk. You are better at all this than I am." "Are you sure? I don't like you being alone. If you can wait a minute, I will get Austin or Felix." "No, no, no. Don't bother them. I am not leaving the pack house. I will be back in a few minutes." I gave him a smile. He pecked my lips before he let me go. I made my way out of the hall and towards the bathrooms. Luckily, no one stopped me. The bathroom was empty when I entered. When I was washing my hands, the door opened. I looked up to see Gwen standing behind me. I blanched slightly. "If it isn't the newly engaged Luna-to-be," she said in a nasty voice. "Gwen, please, I don't want to do this," I said quietly. She was standing between me and the exit, so running away was not an option. "Oh, but I do. Not only are you a wolf-less traitor piece of trash, but you also wiggled your way into becoming Luna, and now Liam proposed to you. How exactly did you manage to convince Liam and the rest of the pack that you aren't a traitor?" I shook my head. "Please stop. No, I won't. Liam is supposed to be mine." She sounded a little crazy now. She stepped towards me. "I'm a beta's daughter. He is an alpha. It makes sense." She continued to advance. "We should have been mates. I should be on his arm. He should be proposing to me." I backed up into the sink as she got within arm's reach of me. But no, the moon goddess fated me to a loser who rejected me immediately. Then she gives the one who should be my mate to a worthless hag like you. And to top it all off, I get sent away from the pack by Daddy Dearest because I don't agree with all this. You are so lucky that Hunter caught me before I got to you that night. But sadly, your time has run out." I looked down at her hand and she was holding a knife. "Liam, help," I tried to link. "Gee Gwen, you are really don't want to do this." "That is just it, I really do. I have wanted to do this for a while. Think about this before you see can take it back. Liam is my mate. I never wanted to hurt you." There was pounding on the door that took her attention away from me for a split second. I made a grab for the knife, but my hand got sliced. "Ah!" I yelped as I clutched my hand. The cut burned like someone had caught it on fire. Her attention back on me now, she smirked. "I wonder how long it will take him to get through that door?" I honestly did not know if I would get this chance after yesterday. "I am surprised he left you alone at all. Does he really think you could do anything against me?" I could hear Liam's muffled shouts on the other side of the door. The pounding on the door was getting harder, like he was trying to break it down. My hand burned and the cut was oozing blood. It was dumb luck too. I guessed that he would have a guard on you at all times. Not like an alpha has time to babysit. It has to have crossed his mind how weak of a Luna he will have in you, having to have a guard at all times, unable to defend herself even from a little knife. She slashed the knife at me. I brought my arm up, catching the blade with it instead of my face. My arm burned and bled from the knife's contact. A strangled scream escaped my lips. The banging on the door was getting louder, the door shook under the force. "I was just going to take care of you last night. Especially after watching you play nice with my parents all night. What did you think? You could waltz into my pack and take my mate and family?" "Please, Gwen," my arm was on fire. All at once, the door burst open and Gwen lunged at me. I managed to duck out of the way, but the knife caught me again, this time across my shoulder. I fell to the ground and immediately tried to scramble away. There were 4 bodies over us in an instant. I felt warmth surrounding me as I opened my eyes to Liam pulling me to him. Turning my head, I could see Austin standing in between us and Gwen. Felix and Damien had Gwen held down. "Get her out of here now. Restrain her!" Liam shouted. Austin moved to help Felix and Damien. They pulled a kicking and screaming Gwen to her feet and out of the room. Liam's attention turned to me. "Show me the cuts," he said quickly. He knew exactly where they were, he had to have felt them. "We need to get these looked at," he said somberly. Everything still burned but I did not want to move just yet. "Wait," I said. I had an idea. "Just hold me for a minute," I told him. I held onto Liam as his arms wrapped securely around me. At least he never hesitated when I asked him to hold me. I closed my eyes and concentrated on the cuts. A warm sensation flowed through me and the burning began to subside. After a couple minutes, there was almost no pain. I opened my eyes and examined my palm. The cut was almost completely healed. "Did you just?" Liam asked, baffled. "I think so," I said, also surprised. I didn't know if it would work. But something in me told me to hold on to you and try it. "You really are full of surprises," he said. He buried his face in my neck. "I was so worried when you called for help. Then I felt her cut you. Azalea, I thought I was going to die if I couldn't get to you. But you did. You always do." He lifted his head and kissed me tenderly. "I have to go deal with Gwen." "Do you want Felix to take you upstairs?" he asked once we broke apart. "Does this have to be done now?" The wedding, I did not want to ruin Damien's night or the wedding. It had been such a wonderful day to end with something so sad. "Yes, baby, it does. She attempted to take your life. I could hear the things she said to you. She is troubled and a danger to you and this pack. She can't go unpunished this time," he said. "What do you mean by this time? And what did she mean by the hunter got to her?" I asked. He sighed. "She tried to get to you while we were apart before. Before I could come apologize and beg you to come back, she went after you. The hunter got to her first. He left her half dead at our borders. She was found in time that she suffered no lasting issues. I warned her to never come near you or try anything again. Declan decided to send her away after that. That is where she has been since before you got kidnapped by Cole," he explained. "Oh," I said. "I need to take care of this now. Do you want to stay with me or go upstairs with Felix?" "Can I stay with you?" He smiled. "I think I might prefer that." He stood up, pulling me to my feet. When he let me go, I swayed slightly, feeling extremely tired. "You must be drained from the healing," he said, holding on to me. He scooped me up into his arms. We left the bathroom and Felix appeared at our side. "She has been restrained in your office," he said gruffly. He eyed me in Liam's arms. "She's okay," Liam said to him. He nodded and directed his eyes forward. Apparently, Felix had grown a soft spot for me. We got to Liam's office door and I stopped him. "Wait," I said. "Let me walk," I asked. He looked at me concerned. "Are you sure?" The rest of the audiobooks will be uploaded in the next episode. Join us on Patreon to listen to more unlimited audiobooks.